something is not right. Oh, hold on. Ha, my bad. Hold on, I'll be back. I should have caught when I had the chance. Let's see here. I plug this on. I'm trying my best here. No. Here we go. All right. Okay, I'll be right back in 2 shakes. Hopefully. Where did my mouse go? Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the I'm your host, RavenWood, and let me scoot it over here. Scoot you a little bit closer. There we go. Oh, hold on. 1 second. Oh, 1 second. My stream is unstable. Give it a second to reload. Maybe have to. There we go. There we go. Connection. Connection terminated. Okay. You're probably wondering, why is that lamp right there? That lamp. Okay. I have it there because I wanted to test to see if that would be, if that would brighten up the room, if that would be enough to brighten up the room. And it is, but I don't like it. I don't like that lamp being there. But I'm just testing to see where I would need to station a lamp, where I would need to not station a lamp, or whatever. I'll probably again. I need to add some lamps in here. That's just something that I need to do. I just need to add a lamp in here, or 2, or 3, or 5, maybe 100 lamps in here, and then finally be right. So yeah, there's a lamp right there, and Megatron's gonna go blind soon. So yeah, hold on, let me there. All right, let me do this. No, well, no, you're fine right there. You're fine right there. Well, okay, hold on, let me. I am it, dude. I am it, dude. Maybe. No. Okay, hold on. Okay, there. Okay, I won't mess with you any further than that. Okay, I'm at least visible to see to you. I'm at least visible to you. I wish I could have it a little bit more angled down. There we go. There we go. Okay, I am now center frame. Okay, sorry for all of that technical difficulties. I'm sorry for the noir themed camera that that are seeing a few minutes ago, whatever. Sorry for all that. With that being said, okay. With that being said, here we are with this new stream. I was to announce something. I am not happy about this in any way. I'm somehow. I'll explain. But I just explain. Okay. January. I think roughly. I think it was January 6th, 2025, this year. I'm closing my eyes because I'm trying to. I'm trying. I don't want to get the date wrong. It's been this week. I'm although I wouldn't say I'm shocked, but like if I find it kind of odd that he passed away on January 6th, I guess, because you attach when you say January 6th, right? You think of the silly, stupid political movement, or not silly political movement, but silly political uh, uh, riot. Sorry, I was lost for words for a second. You think of the silly political riot that really, for some reason, politicians keep like announcing this specific day and like, oh, this is the worst thing that's happened to America. No, it's not. It is not the worst thing that has happened to America. I don't mean to get political, but like, it's just that's just stupid. Stop being stupid. There, that's all I gotta say. Everything about politics is like modern politics. I say that everything when you look at modern politics is just like, oh, okay, this is just a basket of stupidity, right? You're not actually making actual arguments about subject, right, or any subjects, to be honest. You're just saying just stupid stuff because you're spending too much time on the internet, right? You're not talking to your neighbor. You're not doing anything helpful in society. You're just arguing on the internet. Enough about that. Anyways, it's just a weird, odd date, and I don't like thinking about January 6th, the political event that happened, right? Versus what happened this year, right? This year my grandfather passed roughly around 3 o'clock, if not 2. I'm guessing 2:58. It would have to be the closest time, because Tyler had Tyler had left. We were playing Uno to keep people occupied, and Jerry was in critical condition. His doctor came, and he passed. There's no other. I didn't want to do a separate random fandom video or live stream or whatever. I didn't want to make a video about it. I feel like it'd be best to have it like do it in a live stream. I didn't want to say this in a post. That felt like something like a company would do. I'm not a company. I'm a person. And if this is a mistake, fine. If it's a mistake to do it live, then fine. Whatever. Inform my channel. It's tough. I know. I did. Don't get me wrong. I will finish this story today, but it's been tough this entire week. It's still tough. Right now, my emotions, the way I won't say I control my emotions. I have control, right? No, the way my emotions work, or at least how I've been kind of just viewing my self-evaluating myself, is that I'm kind of like a switch, kind of just. I don't want to say switch, but I'm just, I'm at acceptance, depression, and if you make me really frustrated, just really frustrated, anger, but that has nothing to do with the 5 stages of grief. Like I'm oddly just back and forth with either sadness or acceptance. It's just not moving on. Moving on. I feel like they should add like a different thing, a different stage. Acceptance is like moving on is like the final step of acceptance. I have not taken that. I don't think so. I'm not. I'm not a. I'm not. I'm not so sure of shrink, nor have I visited uh, anyone um, uh, what do you call it? Not psych ward. Yeah, kind of. I think it's. I'm not certain. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What's it called? The position of people that talk to you, listen to you, advise you, and study you, right? Become the outside friend, I guess. Not say outside friend, but how do I say it? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The shrink. Let's just go with what everyone calls them. The shrink. I don't have a shrink. I don't go to a therapist. Therapist. That's the word. I don't go to a therapist. I haven't gone to a therapist about this, about myself or about this. I don't have a therapist, so that's another thing. So like that's the major thing. I don't have a shrink. I don't have a therapist. Um, I don't have a lean on to friend. I just lean on to my brother. But it's regardless. I'm. It's not that I'm like, oh, I'm heartless. I'm doing on the stream, talking about grandfathers passing and whatnot. No, it's just I in my mind I have it set up to where if I procrastinate, whatever the reason being for procrastination, right? Or if I put it aside or whatever, if I continue just not doing, I'll just not function. Or I'll just not do the thing that I tell myself I need to be doing this or getting this done. This is a project that I want done, and if I give a reason to not to do it, then it will not be done. Or if I continue just not doing it because I want to do something else instead, then it will not be done. And I feel like my grandfather would want me to get this done. This is a story, right? And I'm at the end, and while this is not my job, the completion, not completionist, to complete something means that the project has gotten done, right? I don't want to regret that. I don't want to linger not doing things. And when I found myself being a happier person, I guess, not just a happier person for the sake of being happy, but like mentally in this state of mind, I guess. The best way to get me into a better mental state, I guess. Well, I guess a lack of words. Not to overcome grief. I would probably eventually somewhere down the line, I'll probably just cry for no reason. Feel sad about something that we can't do anymore. So, like, not. I guess I'm also realizing that, like, some of the times, that, like, when people, like, I guess I just. I don't know how to say this. This is. I not. If you stop doing things, then you just put them off more and more, and they just linger on. It not doing tasks will just be just an imaginary weight on your back. Like you put a mind, you put your mind something. You tell your mind, I've got to do this, right? Your mind will then, okay, that's part of the list. That's part of the things to do, right? And if you set aside, all of a sudden you have like a weight on your back or your shoulders or your the inner core of your spine heavy, right? And for example, I forgot to bring to give an example. We were preparing to bring to have people to give their condolences, people who knew G Daddy, right? My grandfather, G Daddy, who either worked with them, Sunday school class at the time, knew him from church, were either best friends, um, um, people he helped out with contracts, I guess, because he worked in architecture or something like that. I forgot what it's called, or how to pronounce it. He also taught it in college. He taught it in UGA. He taught in UGA, so that's something. He taught about plants and whatnot and everything, and that was something that was great. Something that was he left behind a legacy, right? His legacies are different than my path, right? But he left a legacy. He left a footprint, I guess, if you want to call it that. He left his works here. But it's just where was I? Oh yeah, okay. So while we were preparing for that, hello, okay, if you can still hear me, if you can still see me, okay. While we were preparing for that, we had set chairs downstairs so that people can walk around the dining room table. And my grandmother, G Mama, what we call her, G Mama, had told us to take. Well, actually, I had told us, but it was her plan. But anyways, after that was done, the next day, right? Eventually, G Mama wanted us to take those stairs. Not take the stairs, take the chairs up the stairs from the basement. From the basement to upstairs. And on that day when they were busy and whatnot, I guess I just forgot. I forgot, and I wanted to do it today without fail, and I went downstairs, and only to find out that I overslept a little bit. I overslept, and B, that Jonathan and my mom, my younger brother. Sorry, no, little brother. No, anyways, Nick and Dominic is my younger brother. John is my little brother. Yeah. Anyways, he's not so much little now, but in terms of speaking, yeah, I don't want to call him the youngest brother because I don't think he likes that either. Oh well, you pick little or youngest. Anyways, So he and mom had already done that. And so, oh well. And then the weight off of my back, it got kind of sort of heavy for a second, but then it got away. It went, you know. Unfortunately, this is a situation where, like, okay, getting it done, right? It got done, but it wasn't me. That's why it only got heavy, um, to me, um, right? But in the act of doing something, not only will it like get lighter, and then right, it's just not it's on your back anymore, right, or on your shoulders, right? The weight of not doing something and then doing it, right? Doing something just kind of just there's something about it that just kind of just alleviates. I think that's the right word to use. Um, it lightens the mood in a way. It softens or whatever, cushions, right? Doing things, working, getting things done, accomplishing. And so right now I wanted to get this done. I want to get the mill done. And so I think GA would want me to do that, get things done, go on, move on, get to the next thing. And that's what I'm going to do that's another thing. That's kind of like sort of my New Year's resolution at the same time. Just get things done. Just complete projects. Get one project started, and then if you need to put it off, fine, but get it done. Get projects done. Get her done. And now he wasn't Southern. He didn't have like the get her done Southern accent or whatever. But get it done. Get projects done. That is what he would want me to do. There are several projects that we haven't gotten done, and not just on the Random Fandom, but here at home, right? Here at home, we haven't gotten a lot of not just Random Fandom projects, but a lot of just stuff, just not just things not getting done. Now, don't get me wrong. Nothing. We're not like, oh no, this house is unstable. The water boards, not the water boards. The roof, the shingles, or whatever. Oh no, not that type of. Nothing too serious. Just things that in general that like, making the we call it quality of life things kind of just not done, or whatever. It could be just gardening, getting the backyard done or whatever. Yeah, but like, so there's like two phrases. Whenever I criticize something, there's make it to make sense, right? And I kind of borrowed this from young Kaiser. Make it make sense. If you're going to make an argument, or if you're going to write something, make it make sense, right? If you're going to tell a story, or if you're going to if you're going to do something, make it make sense. And with Giatti, it's get it done. Those two can go together. You gotta get things done and make it make sense. Sometimes you gotta make it make sense in order to get it done. So there, it's like two things that you just kind of just need to just. By the way, now that I've gotten that out of the way, that entire speech, now we need to get to getting it done. Because not one or two things. Because one, we gotta just get it done, right? We gotta to get this story finished, right? Um, and second thing, we need to just keep going. We just need to keep this. We need to keep this stream going, not going, not forever, but we need to just get this stream done. Also, because the weather, it's snowing here in Georgia. Not that it's possible to snow in Georgia. I've been here all my life. I've been here, well, not all my life. I've visited other places, but like for the majority of my life, it snows. It doesn't always snow in the winter. It doesn't always snow in the winter. And it's just rare. It's rare for it to snow in the winter. Whew. Excuse me. Sorry. And so for it to snow, not for it to snow. When it snows, the connection just gets a little horrible. It gets a little fuzzy. Why do I have this in my hand? The connection isn't great. The connection isn't grand. I wish I could pick the weather, but I have to do it today. I have to do it now. I have to do this live stream now. If I don't do this live stream now, then I just won't get done later on. I mean, I could do it Saturday, but again, my skin right there is just peeled off for some reason. Okay, without further ado, we will start reading. I almost forgot something. I will need a thing of water. I'll be right back. I'll be right back after these few messages. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Okay, so now let's continue and let's start reading. Now, what I'm going to do is reread that paragraph that we left off. Now, I was going to read this. Now, I will say, I was going to finish reading this before the new year, but things got desperate. I was going to say that. Things got desperate with Giatti, right? I wouldn't say too desperate. It just got very depressing. Let's just go, desperate, depressing, whatever. And it didn't feel right to also end the year. It just seems odd to end the year with the final chapter of Will the Mill, death. Hey, this year it's ending. It's It's coming to a crawl. But yeah, there's it's fine. It it's fine. It's fine. Let's begin. Death. Year after year went away into nothing, with great explosions and outcries in the cities on the plain, red revolt springing up and being suppressed in blood, battle swaying hither and thither, patient astronomers in observatory towers picking out and christening new stars, plays being performed at Latin theaters, people being carried into hospitals on stretchers, and all the usual turmoil and agitation of men's lives in crowded centers. Up and only the winds and seasons made it. The fish swift stream, the birds circled overhead, the pine tops rustled underneath the stars. The tall hills stood over all, and Will went to and fro, minding his way side in, until the snow began to thicken on his head. His heart was young and vigorous, and if his pulses kept a sober time, they still beat strong and steady in his wrists. He carried a ruddy stain on either cheek, like a ripe apple. He stood a little, but his step was still firm. He stooped a little, but his step was still firm, and his sinewy hands were reached out to all men with a friendly pressure. His face was covered with those wrinkles which are got in open air, and which, rightly looked at, are no more than a sort of permanent sunburning. Such wrinkles heighten the stupidity of stupid faces. But to a person like Will, with his clear eyes and smiling mouth, only give another charm by testifying to a simple and easy life. His talk was full of wise sayings. He had a taste for other people, and other people had a taste for him. When the valley was full, I'm back. Okay, so there was a bit of a problem. I had to start fighting the actual internet connection. This time, okay, the snow. Old man yells at cloud. Anyways, the snow. Well, it's not snowing at the moment. At least I don't think so. I could check, but I don't think so. Let me go check. I'll be right back. Well, I am not certain. Well, let's just continue. Let's see, where do we hold up? The valley. When the valley was full of tourists in the season, there were merry nights in Will's Arbor, and his views, which seemed whimsical to his neighbors, were often enough admired by learned people out of towns and colleges. Indeed, he had a very noble he had a very noble age and grew daily better known, so that his fame was heard of in the cities of the plain. And young men who had been summer travelers spoke together in cafes of Will o' the Mill and his rough philosophy, philosophy. Sorry, many an invitation, you may be sure he had, but nothing could tempt him from his upland valley. He would shake his head and smile over his tobacco pipe with a deal of meaning. You come too late, he would answer. You come too late, he would answer. I am a dead man now. I have lived and died already. 50 years ago you had brought my heart into my mouth, and now you do not even tempt me. But that is the object of long living, that man should cease to care about life. And again, there is only one difference between a long life and a good dinner. That in the dinner the sweets come last. Well, that's a good. That's a good line. Or once more, when I was a boy, I was a bit puzzled, and hardly knew whether it was myself or the world that was curious and worth looking into. Now I know it is myself, and I stick to that. He never showed any symptom of frailty, but kept stalwart and firm to the last. Though they say he grew less talkative towards the end, and would listen to other people by the hour in an amused and sympathetic silence. Only when he only when he did speak, it was more to the point and more charged with old experience. He drank he drank a bottle of wine gladly. Above all, at sunset on the hilltop, or quite late at night, under the stars in the arbor. The sight of something attractive and unattainable seasoned his enjoyment, he would say, and he professed he had lived long enough he lived long enough to admire a candle all the more when he could compare it with a planet. One night, on a 72nd year, in his 72nd year, he awoke in bed, and in such uneasiness of his body and mind that he arose and dressed himself and went out to meditate in arbor, the arbor. Hello again. Yeah, oh, hello, Dominic Rex. My stream froze up. I fixed it, I believe. Please stay tuned in if you're um this is gonna be a long ride. We are going to have to just finish it, hopefully today, and by the looks of it, we will. Anyways, if the weather can just let us, okay, the weather just needs to just okay. I'll just be over here. Just move over here. Anyways, where is it? Second one in the apple. Okay, go. No. All right. No, it was pitch dark without a star. The river was swollen, and the wet woods and meadows loaded the air with perfume. It had thundered during the day, and it promised more thunder for the morrow. Excuse me. Let me drink some water. A murky, stifling night for a man of 72. Whether it was the weather, or the wakefulness, or some little touch of fever in his old limbs, Will's mind was besieged by two tumultuous and crying memories. His boyhood night with a fat young man, death of his adopted parents, the summer days with Marjorie, and many of those small circumstances which, saying nothing to another, are yet the very gist of a man's own life to himself. Things seen, words heard, looks misconstrued, arose from the forgotten corners and upset his attention. The dead themselves were with him, not merely taking part in this thin show of memory that defiled before his brain, but revisiting his bodily senses as they do in profound and vivid dreams. The fat young man leaned his elbows on the table opposite. Marjorie came and went with an apron full of flowers between the garden and the arbor. He could hear the old person knocking out his pipe or blowing his resonant nose. The tide of his consciousness ebbed and flowed. He was sometimes half asleep and drowned in the recollections of the past, and sometimes he was broad awake, wondering at himself. But about the middle of the night, he was startled by the voice of the dead miller calling to him out of the house, as he used to do on the arrival of custom. The hallucination was so perfect that Will sprang from his seat and stood listening for the summons to be repeated. And as he listened, he became conscious of another noise besides the brawling of the river and the ringing in his feverish ears. It was like the stir of horses and the creaking of harness, as though a carriage with an impatient team had been brought up upon the road before the courtyard gate. At such an hour, upon this rough and dangerous pass, the superstition was no better than absurd, and Will dismissed it from his mind and resumed the chair, and sleep closed over him like running water. He was once again awakened by the dead miller's call, thinner and now spectral than before, and once again he heard the noise of an equipage upon the road. And so thrice and four times the same dream or the same fancy presented itself to his senses until at length, smiling to himself as when one humors a ow my itchy back. One humors a nervous child. He proceeds towards the gate set to his uncertainty to set his uncertainty at rest. From the arbor to the gate was no great distance, and yet it took Will some time. It seemed as if the dead thickened around him in the court, and crossed his path at every step. For, first, he was suddenly surprised by by an overpowering sweetness of heliotropes. It was as if his garden had been planted. As it was his garden had been planted with this flower from end to end, and the hot, damp night had drawn forth all the perfumes in a breath. Now the heliotrope, now the heliotrope had been Marjorie's favorite flower, and since her death, not one of them had ever been planted in Will's ground. Oh, and since her death, not one of them had ever been planted in Will's ground. I must be going crazy, he thought. Poor Marjorie and her heliotropes. And with that, he raised his eyes towards the window that had been. He raised his eyes towards the window that once had been hers. I don't know why I couldn't just read that. That had once been hers. If he had been bewildered before, he was now almost terrified, for there was a light in the room. The window was an orange oblong as of yore, and the corner of the blind was lifted and let fall as on the night when he stood and shouted to the stars in his perplexity. The illusion only endured an instant, but it left him somewhat unmanned. Rubbing his eyes and staring at the outline of the house and the black night behind it, while he thus stood, it seemed as if he must have stood there quite a long time. Checking the connection. Checking the connection. Okay, good. There came a renewal of the noises on the road, and he turned in time to meet a stranger who was advancing to meet him across the court. There was something like the outline of a great carriage discernible on the road behind the stranger, and above that a few black pine tops, like so many plums. Master Will? asked the newcomer in a brief military fashion. That same, sir, answered Will. Can I do anything to serve you? I have heard you much spoken of, Master Will, returned the other. Much spoken of, and well. And though I have both hands full of business, I wish to drink a bottle of wine with you in your arbor. In your arbor. I don't know why I keep on pronouncing it that way. Before I go, I should introduce. Will led the way to the trellis and got a lamp sighted and a bottle uncorked. He was he was not altogether unused to such complimentary interviews, and he hoped little enough from this one, being schooled by many disappointments. Disappointments. A sort of cloud had settled on his wits and prevented him from remembering the strangeness of the hour. He moved like a person in his sleep, and it seemed as if the lamp caught fire, and the bottle came uncorked with the facility of thought. Still, he had some curiosity about the appearance of his visitor, and tried in vain to turn the light into his into his face. Either he handled the lamp clumsily, or there was a dismiss over his eyes, but it could make out a little more than a shadow at a table with him. He stared and stared at this shadow. As he wiped out the glasses, he began to feel cold and strange about the heart. The silence weighed upon him, for he could hear nothing. Now, not even the river, but the drumming of his own arteries in his ears. "Here's to you," said the stranger roughly. "Here is my service, sir," replied Will, sipping the wine, which somehow tasted oddly. "I understand you are a very positive fellow," pursued the stranger. Will made an answer, with a smile of some satisfaction and a little nod. "So am I," continued. So am I," continued the other. "And it is the delight of my heart to tramp on people's corns. I will have nobody positive but myself. Not one. I have crossed the whims in my time of kings and generals and great artists. And what would you say," he went on, "if I had come up here on purpose to cross yours?" Will had it on his tongue to make a sharp rejoinder, but the politeness of an old innkeeper prevailed, and he held up his piece and made an answer with a civil gesture of the hand. "I have," said the stranger, "and if I did not hold you in particular esteem, I should make no words about the matter. It appears you pride yourself on staying where you are." Let me check the connection. Good connection. "You mean to stick by your inn. Now, I mean, you shall come for a turn with me in my bosh, about. I'm gonna Google this. I know that the connection is terrible, but I'm still going to risk this. A four-wheeled horse-drawn carriage with a collapsible hood over the rear half, a seat in front of the driver, and seats facing each. Ooh. How do you say? Barouche. Sorry. "Now, I mean, you shall come for a turn with me in my barouche, and before this bottle's empty. So you shall." "That would be an odd thing, to be sure," replied Will, with a chuckle. "Why, sir, I have grown here like an old oak tree. The devil himself could hardly root me up. And for all I perceive, you are a very entertaining old gentleman. I would wager you another bottle if you lose your pains with me. Come on." Yeah, okay, that's him. The dimness of Will's eyesight had been increasing all this while, but he was somehow conscious with a sharp and chilling scrutiny which irritated and yet overmastered him. You you need not you need not think, he broke out suddenly, an explosive, verbal manner that startled and alarmed himself, that I am a stay at home because I fear anything under God. God knows I am tired. God knows I am tired enough of it all. And when the time comes for a longer journey than ever you dream of, I reckon I shall find myself prepared. The stranger emptied his glass and pushed it away from him. He looked down for a little, and then, leaning over the table, tapped Will 3 times on the forehead with a single finger. 1, 2, 3. The time has come, he said solemnly. An ugly thrill spread from the spot he touched. The tones of his voice were dull and swelling, and echoed strangely in Will's heart. I beg your pardon, he said with some discomposure. What do you mean? Look at me, and you will find your eyesight swim. Raise your hand. It is dead heavy. This is your last bottle of wine, Master Will, and your last night upon the earth. I your doctor, quivered Will. The best that ever was, replied the other, for I cure both mind and body with the same prescription. I take away all pain and I forgive all sins. And where my patients have gone wrong in life, I smooth out all complications and set them free again upon their feet. I have no need for you. No, not for you, sorry. I have no need of you, said Will. A time comes for all men, Mr. Will, replied the doctor, when the helm is taken out of their hands. For you, because you were prudent and quiet, it has been long of coming, and you have had long to discipline yourself for its reception. You have seen what it is to be seen about your mill. You have sat close all your days like a hare in its form. But now, that is at an end. And, added the doctor, getting on his feet, you must arise and come with me. You're a strange physician, said Will, looking steadfastly upon his guest. I am an actual law, he replied, and people call me Death. Why did you not tell me so at first? Cried Will. I have been waiting for you these many years. Give me your hand and welcome. Lean upon my arm, said the stranger, for already your strength abates. Lean on me as heavily as you need, for though I am old, I am very strong. It is but 3 steps to my carriage, and there all your trouble ends. Why, Will, he added, I have been yearning for you as if you were my own son. and all of the men that I ever came for in my long days, I have come for you most gladly. I am Ozit. I am Kozak, and sometimes offend people at first sight. But I am a good friend at heart to such as you. Since my joy was taken, returned Will. I declare before God you were the only friend I had looked for. So the pair went arm in arm across the courtyard. One of the servants awoke about this time and heard the noise. One of the servants awoke about this time and heard the noise of horses pawing he before he dropped to sleep again. All down the valley that night there was a rushing as of a smooth and steady wind descending towards the plain. And when the world rose next morning, sure enough, Will of the Mill had gone at last upon his travels. Markheim, the next story in this book. That took us longer than I anticipated. For the next story that we will read, if I could find it. The next story that we will read is the first chapter. Oh. Here's apparently a map. A map of the park, or the island, that is. It's a very dated way of drawing maps, but it's a neat one, nonetheless. For A, M, and T. Reptiles are abhorrent because of the cold body, pale color, cartilaginous skeleton, filthy skin, fierce aspect, calculating eye, offensive smell, harsh voice, squalid habitation, and terrible venom. Wherefore their creator has not exerted his powers to make many of them. Linnaeus, 1797. You cannot recall a new form of life. Aaron Chargaff, 1972. Introduction. Now, before we start the first paragraph of this story, before we start the first paragraph, or the first two. I saw the first two paragraphs and they're pretty short. Oh, I think Will the Mill was a great story. And that was a nice visual concept of Death himself, the carriage. and the the presence, the it's just interesting. And to wrap up, that his life was just it's just his life was just that. His life. Uh, how do I say this? His life was just short and sweet. The whole story was just a short and sweet story. And so now we're going to prepare for the next film of Jurassic Park by getting us into the mindset, right? Um, how long is the introduction? Okay, it's not that long. What we're going to do for the Jurassic Park reading, um, is read the introduction, and by the looks of it, the prologue. No. Yeah, we're gonna read the. Depending on how long it takes. Yeah. Here, what we can do. The introduction and the prologue. Some of these chapters are rather short. I'm looking into this, and some of these little chapters or segments are rather short. I don't know if this was how the writer wrote it. Like it kind of feels almost comical in a way. The writing here is, I feel like the storytelling here is kind of that the titles of these chapters kind of seem just a little, I want to say comical, but a little funny. How do I say this? Is there like a little, they're silly. I guess the comic relief, I guess, is the title chapters. Because like some of these are just called The Beach. That's it. The Under Control, the 7th iteration, and it just shows a weird puzzle or a weird picture. The Return, not the comic really. The Park, Lex. It's just called. There's Stegosaurus. Control. When the dinosaurs rule the earth. Welcome, Malcolm. The target of it just seems weird. It just seems titled so weird. Like you don't like. I like that chapters have like title names versus chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Right. Okay. Anyways, introduction. The engine incident. The late 20th century has. Hold on, let me get into the tone of how I want to sound. The late 20th century. the late 20th century has witnessed a scientific gold rush of astonishing proportions. The headlong and furious haste to commercialize genetic engineering. This enterprise has proceeded so rapidly, with so little outside commentary, that its dimensions and implications are hardly understood at all. Biotechnology promises the greatest revolution in human history. by the end of this decade, it would have outdistanced atomic power in computers and its effect in our everyday lives. In the worlds of one observer, biotechnology is going to transform every aspect of human life. Our medical care, our food, our health, our entertainment, our very bodies. Nothing will ever be the same again. It is literally going to change the face of the planet. Okay, so that is the introduction, the first two paragraphs of the introduction. I could read the third. I could keep going. Actually, yeah, I could keep going, but I don't want to. Because Dominic wants to read with me. Well, I will ask if we could take turns, but he will definitely read with me on this live stream. So the next RavenWood Reads will be this. But the next live stream, this will be the next RavenWood Reads live stream. The next live stream with us together will be the Star Wars Part 2. We'll just cover what we like of the movies. And now, we covered which was our favorite movie. The next topic of Star Wars for Part 2 would be what. Oh gosh, well, okay. Well, with that being said, I have to end it here. Hopefully next stream we won't have the weird, awful weather. Stay tuned for the episodes that I planned out. There might be a on the shelf live stream of Yellow Park's Transformers 1 Optimus Prime. Stay tuned for that one. That was what my brother, my youngest, not youngest, let's call him Jonathan. What my brother Jonathan gave to me. I felt very happy about that, and I hope I hope I'll get to that soon. Not hope. I will get to it soon. So what I'm gonna do is, just there's a lot of stuff planned. Stay tuned if you want to be notified for these great ideas that we'll publish soon. Please hit the notification, hit the like button, hit the dislike button if you don't want to see it. Okay, that's fine. Well, you don't have to see it anyways. Comment down below. This year it's already gotten a rough start, but I actually prefer to have rough starts, because if you get the rough starts, you get the wholesome endings. Sometimes. Sometimes it's kind of like poetry times. With that being said, I've got to go. We'll see you next time. Cheers. Much love. Bye bye.